Hi, everyone. So glad you're here. You are watching the raw and uncut version of today's Sellout show. And we have a fantastic guest for you, maybe an unintentional guest too. We have a fantastic guest who really dropped some knowledge bombs. I want you to get your pen and your paper or your notes or whatever device, however you pay attention and get schooled, get ready. Diana, tell everybody who we have on the show today.
We have the one and only and amazing Phil Gerbyshak, who's coming on our show. And he's the guy who sort of predicted how LinkedIn and Twitter were going to work for salespeople. And so he lays down what he thinks is next to put you ahead. So you're going to love that. Don't miss that. And then see if you can find the part in the video where my two dogs come in and video bomb us. And then my dog pants throughout the rest of the show. And it's like 100 degrees in here. So have some fun with that. And I'll show you my puppies one of these days.
Yeah. No, that sounds, no. Do you know what that means? I'll show you my puppies.
What does that mean?
Boobs.
I'm not going to show you those puppies. Okay, this is terrible. This is a terrible show. Enjoy.
Oh my God. You're so lucky. Okay, we are recording.
We're recording.
Yay.
So Tom's like the most important thing that you need to remember, Diana, about recording is that it's important what's on the computer screen because you always look green, right? So he's like, it'd be good if there's like a sunrise or something. And I get here and of course I'm on my back foot because I'm just kicking him out of my office and all it is evergreens. A big display of woods and greenery. Like it couldn't be worse. But anyway, he'll just have to edit me into orange.
Oh, well, do you have any more light you can put on your face?
I've got this one. Let me see what you think of it. I don't know if you like what it does to my face. Is that better?
Yes, that's better. Yeah.
Oh,
you
good.
need a little more light in your face. Yeah. Yeah.
So what's happening in the Sean Carroll Sandy world?
I had breakfast with a future guest. She is phenomenal and I cannot wait to have her on the show. She's young too. She's like 32, but she's so illuminating. She's just one of these people. She's so illuminating and really, how did she say it? She says she really experiences the world on a cellular level. So she listens to her gut about everything. She's done amazing things in her life already. I mean, she started a business, content marketing, wrote for Google, LinkedIn. I mean, just, those were her clients. And then sold it and then went to go work for one of the best and largest venture capital firms in the States. So, and then she just left there, go off and do something else. So and I had breakfast with her this morning and I just love her. And I think I have a great way to take what she does very naturally and bring that to our boots on the ground, phone in the hand sellers to help them in their business. So we're going to figure out when to get her on.
I can't wait. I love it when we bring people in who aren't really in the sales profession. I think that's great. In fact, our guest today is very, very much like that. I'm so excited for him to join us. He promised that he was going to prank us a little bit. So I want to.
Oh crap.
So we'll see. We'll see what he's got. But I've got some ammo right back at him, I think. But
very good. Very good. Well, so we have about 30 to 40 minutes for Phil. Is that going to work? You think?
Absolutely. So
okay.
Yeah, let's have it be like, about 30 or 40 minutes. And then I want us to film a little video separately, completely, thanking Scott for making us, Scott, right?
Yeah, yes.
For making us number one.
Yes.
I think it'd be fun to do a video shout out for him that I can run on LinkedIn today.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I have an email queued up to go to our special guest. Do you want to do a pre-introduction before he gets here?
Why don't you send the email and then I'll give you a little bit of background on Phil and then he'll join us. I want him to hear a little bit of what I'm going to say because, I want him to hear it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and send it. So who's joining us today? It's hilarious. Every big deal person that I talk to, and I happen to mention, Phil Gerbyshak comes up somehow. They're all like, "Oh my God, I know him. I love him." I mean, as you know, I'm fortunate enough to work with Jill Conrads on some projects, and I was talking to Jill the other day about this conversation I'd have with Phil, and she's like, "Oh my God, I love Phil Gerbyshak." And I'm like, And then, these big deal people want to come on his podcast. They're like Lolly Daskell, who has, I don't know, upward north of 10 million followers or something ridiculous. And she reached out to him because she wanted to be on his podcast. So, I mean, this is the guy, and it would be too warmed over porridge to have the topic be, how do you get all that connected and networking and stuff? That would be just too obvious. So we're going to have to do something a little bit of a pivot. But so, I'm always constantly amazed at this guy. And he came to my wedding. Do you know what I mean? So he constantly is telling me, Diana, you don't know who you are. La, la, la. Like, you're good too. But, he always says all these people are great. But then what's really cool is that when I meet those people, they also are like Phil's #1 fans. So it's a real pleasure. We're going to have so much fun. And he's hilarious too. So
he is. He's a lot of fun. And thank you for introducing me to him. We were on his podcast interview last week. I can't wait to see how that was out. Oh my gosh, we had some crazy conversations.
I know, it was fun. I can't wait to hear it. So here's the question that I want to ask him. Since this guy can connect to just about anybody, I want to see how long it takes him to get me a conversation with Reba.
Oh, yes, your conversation with Reba.
We're going to put him on. So who would your conversation be if Phil could hook you up with anybody that you wanted to talk to? Who would he hook you up with?
Well, I told you my one, I answered this question on Access to Anyone podcast. Like, who would I want to have a conversation with dinner with be? And it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice. I think she's just fascinating.
You're so smart. You always go for the smart people. I mean, not that Reva's not smart, but
I think it's people who have really overcome a lot of challenges are just so fascinating to me. She's so scrappy and smart, and the way she pushes back and dissent. I mean, like I said, she wrote a book that I got for my daughter called I Dissent, and that's about her life and just it's how you disagree and you fight for what's not right. And so anyway, I think that'd be fascinating. So
I think that would be great. It would be great to have her on the show. We could talk about dissent.
How do you sell? Oh, we need to talk to I think a judge or an attorney would be a great guest on our show. How do you sell a jury?
Oh my God. You know what? I know a guy, although he's so boring. Yeah. Let's find an interesting
I have an attorney friend. She doesn't, she's an attorney who's gone into marketing, which is just fantastic, but I'm going to ask her if she's very well connected. She's into her bar association stuff. I'm going to ask her if she knows any trial attorneys who are pretty dynamic that could come on the show.
One of the best books that I ever read for sales was do you know Jerry Spence? He was the attorney that represented Imelda Marcos and, other big deal people. He wrote this book called How to Argue and Win Every Time. And he's an attorney, and he was that guy. And it's actually really a fascinating book. It's not what you would expect it to be. Hi, Phil.
Phil's here.
Hey, Sean.
Hi.
What book are you talking about, Diana?
I was talking about Jerry Spence's book, I think it's How to Argue and Win Every Time.
Ah.
we were talking about how much Sean and I like to have people on the show that aren't in the sales expert world, like that come from different disciplines, because we find that there's a lot of things that you can learn. And so we were talking about how much fun it would be to have a trial attorney on the show to talk about, influencing juries. So then I went to Jerry Spence, and then you came on with, can we see this jacket, please?
Sure. What do you want to see?
All right. Yeah.
Well, you told me to do something special, so here you go.
I love it. He has a Pac-Man shirt, a jacket too.
Yeah, I figured this one was more appropriate for your show.
I'm playing the Zoot Suit Riot by Cherry Pop and Daddy. Welcome, Phil Gerbyshak.
What's up?
Welcome, Phil Gerbyshak. So what's the most interesting thing that's happened all week to you, Phil?
Oh boy. So we're launching a company Tuesday. So I've been working on this 180-page website all week.
Oh my God.
That's been pretty interesting for me. it's soft launch today, and it'll hard launch on Tuesday. And people all over the world partnering with and communicating with and trying to get things going. And my goodness, that's pretty interesting.
Sounds terrible and awful, but I'm glad that interests you in your work.
Yeah, well, it's the work that nobody thinks about when you start a company.
Right.
Right. We're merging. When is this air? Right. So we're merging 7 companies together into one.
Yeah.
7 brands together into one. 7 thought leaders into one. 7 practices into one. So that's, wow. Deep breath. Right.
7 egos.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So 7 alpha dogs who have been used to running their own business, doing it their own way, having their own ideas, not really having to stay in a swim lane because it's been their own business for as long as they've been in business, for many of them. Right. So that's interesting, and watching how some are really good at staying in their lane and some are really not. So it's a good lesson, just and to be patient, right? Because this is new for all of us. This is not. Nobody has. I don't know. I don't know many people that have experience merging 7 businesses, right? So it's very interesting, and the website is just the visual manifestation of that.
Well, so tell people about it, because this will come out in next week essentially.
Yeah, the raw version will come out next week, and then the edited version will come out sometime in 2019. So.
Awesome. Well, that's good. Well, that's right before yours comes out. So that's terrific. I'm glad to hear that. So the whole, so the company is called Vengreso, 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 right? And the whole idea is, we know that in sales, there's kind of 3 big things. There's mindset, there's skill set, and then there's tool set. And you really have to have all of them together working if you're really going to sell. Now, some of that, of course, comes from the top down, and some of that comes from the bottom up, but all is really important. So when we, if you're curious what the heck that means, so ventas in Spanish means all about sales, right? VEN, and then Greso means revenue. So sales and revenue, and that's really what we focus on, helping people accelerate their sales and grow revenue.
Wow. Well, then our audience will definitely want to know about this. Yeah,
I think it might be helpful, right? So we've got 3 podcasts. We've got 7 people who produce content, and it's going to be awesome.
Wow, that sounds so important. I mean, the one thing is, Sean and I have a hashtag that is so important to it's LearnHarder.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm. So tell people again where they can find us.
Sure, it's Vengreso.com.
Okay.
Vengreso, Vengreso.com.
Awesome. I cannot wait to go and dive in and check it out.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, so, tell people a little bit about how you got there, Phil. Diana gave you a great intro before you got here.
Oh, yeah. I'll just do a little synopsis. Basically, anybody that you want to meet that's awesome, Phil knows them. And anytime you meet somebody awesome, all you got to do is mention, Phil Gerbyshak is the name to drop in the world, because I swear to God, I was telling Sean, I have this really awesome opportunity to work with Jill Conrath from time to time. And I brought your name up that I was talking to you on your podcast, and she's like, oh, I've known Phil for years. I love Phil. So not only do you love them, but they always are like your number 1 fan back. So that was my little intro.
That's sweet. Well, that's cool. So I would say really about 12 and a half years ago, I decided that I wanted to write a book. Okay. And before that, I had read lots of books. I really wasn't into sharing. So I had lots of books in my library, and I never told anybody about any of the smart stuff, because I thought back then, 12 and a half, 13 years ago, that, if we keep it inside our head, right, he or she who controls the knowledge controls the game. And that's really how it was, though. Back before blogs started, you think about it, thought leaders would take 3 to 5 years to write a book.
Yeah.
And then you could, they were in an ivory castle somewhere, not just a tower, but the whole castle was made of ivory. And you couldn't get near it. So I decided, not that I ever want to, live in an ivory castle, but I absolutely want to write a book. So 12 and a half, 13 years ago, I used to click on Seth Godin's bald head to get to his blog. And being a bit of a techie, I used to think, holy crap, like this guy rewrites his whole website every single day to produce a new blog with the date, with comments and trackbacks. And back then, I mean, it was hard. So I really didn't, I didn't see it as a sales tool so much as I got challenged to share my ideas, by many people, Ron Munz and Kirk Wiesler being two of the biggest ones. And they challenged me and said, you should do this. So I said, okay, I'll write a book. I started a blog 12 years ago. And actually like 11 years ago, I bumped into Jill Conrad's daughter, Katie.
Yeah.
That's how I know Jill, right? So I started doing that. And then, that year, LinkedIn came along. Twitter came along shortly after that. So I've been on them since like 2004, 2005, right around the same time. And then, I was a VP of IT at a financial services company that specifically forbid me to ever mention their name. So the opposite of employee advocacy is, shh, don't tell anybody. So that's how it was for real. I had to start a company in order to do what I wanted to do, which really was just to write articles. And then, all the financial planners and advisors and bankers and stuff are like, dude, this LinkedIn thing, what the heck is this? And back then it really was 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I started playing with it, and I had nothing
and ever so much more useful to people like me. But I digress.
Yeah, well, to all of us. I mean, that's the thing, right? So I reached out to Bob Berg initially. I reached out to Tim Sanders. I reached out to Jill. I reached out to. I remember actually getting connected with Pamela Slim.
She's awesome.
That name, she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So I started connecting with folks, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting. And like I said, I had nothing to sell, nothing to offer, nothing to ask for. So I just gave my butt off. Like, if Jill's got a new book, A, I'm going to read it because Jill's brilliant, and B, I'm going to share it. So it just started that way. And frankly, it's way more fun to share other people's stuff a lot of times than it is to share your own. So like the fact that y'all are the #1 podcast, I love that. So I'm going to share the hell out of that. Because really, I mean, right? That's not only do I agree with that, okay, but now it's not just, Phil thinks Sean and Diana are great because he's their friends. Right. Which frankly, that could be true, but that's not it. The thing is, I now have a third party that thinks like I do, that I can send that out. And I'm like, well, what the heck? Like, we could use this for sales. We could use this for marketing. We could use this for so much more. So I'm like, maybe there's something to this. So I gave my 2-year notice in 2008.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. Yep. I told my boss I was at my annual review in October. And
hold on 1 second.
And she said, so.
Hold on 1 second. I go back to telling your boss.
Yeah.
We just have a little disturbance in the force as
communication. I understand, as Zoom often does, right?
Yeah.
So,
we love Zoom, though.
We do, yeah, for sure.
Sponsor
us. Yeah, absolutely. So I told my boss we had my annual review in October, and she said, so what's next? You've written 1,000 articles. You're this prolific blogger. You've written 3 books. You speak at conferences. What's next? Do you want to be CIO? Because I was VP of IT, and my boss was like, do you want my job? Do you want to be the CIO? Do you want to go be a broker? I'm like, yeah, I quit. She's like, I'm sorry? She goes, yeah, I quit. I'm like, I'm done. 18 to 24 more months. I'm done. I've had enough. This is fun, but I want to go do my own thing. She goes, okay, great. So everything you're doing now, plus the fact you want to build a business, plus, by the way, we need you to find your replacement. And then the next summer, actually, we re-architected the entire IT department, had a complete organizational shakeup, and that I was involved in as well. And then in 2010, I really did leave. Like, people didn't believe it. I was telling them for 2 years, I'm not kidding you. I'm done. Like, I am here every day. And the big thing for me was, you got to really kick ass at what you do every day.
Yeah.
So my boss is like, okay. I mean, she didn't care. Like, it's the truth. I was the best there was. So she wasn't going to replace me with some schmuck. She wanted to make sure that my knowledge passed down. And so, so that was the whole plan. So in 2010, I thought I was going to be a management and IT consultant and teach people just tech, just one piece of the Vengreso puzzle. just the tool set. Because at the time, I mean, I remember having a BlackBerry and having to spend hours teaching people, how to use a BlackBerry with our thumbs and how to use the scroll wheel. And
we miss the keyboard so much, Phil. We miss it so much.
Well, the new BlackBerry, thankfully, has a keyboard. So you can get a keyboard again with the new BlackBerry. It runs Android, but it's pretty cool. So anyway, so I did that. And then it became really clear to me that tech was only part of it. Like at the time, I remember people were like, what's this Twitter thing? I've never heard of it. LinkedIn, can you really connect to anybody on LinkedIn? Yeah, it's actually really there. Yeah, it is. And can you article that people will read? Well, some of us can, but not everybody's got to work on it. Right. And is it really, so that's been my background. And then I speak and I train and I podcast as often as I can. And I, consult with businesses. So so it's fun. So there you go. So that's kind of catching up.
Let me ask you a quick question. So since you've been kind of the cutting edge guy, pretty much hopefully almost everyone on this listening right now is familiar with LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter. Mm-hmm. Or, and then you were kind of like the first into podcasting and, that whole world. So what's the thing? I mean, I know some things that I'm doubling down on right now, like video, I think is really, really important for the future. And I think getting good at video is a really smart thing to do. So that's why we're doing this. But what do you think is the next thing that people are kind of like looking at sideways being like, should I be paying attention to that?
Good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So first, yes, video. Yes, video. Please, please, please. If you're listening in, if you're watching, I want you to think about how you can produce your own show. Now, I'm not telling you publish your own show, but you need to think about how to produce it. So even if you're, your frontline salesperson, you're like, dude, I'm slamming. Here you go. Take out your darn phone and use ONEMOB, ONEMOB.com. Buy the app, sign up for a subscription, ONEMOB.com. Check them out. Use that. Here's what's cool. You can add at the bottom little links to a PDF that might be a useful article. Could be a PDF here. Could be connect to me on LinkedIn, right? So, and then here's the great thing. With video, not only do they watch it, but then they say, hey, Phil sent me a video just for me. You should take a look. So that's really cool. So video is big. Audio also, because think about it, the most tender thing that anybody does for you is they whisper in your ear.
Oh.
That's a podcast with both ears. Right? So it really is. If you really think about it, if people are really using audio correctly, the stuff between their ears is really important. And even if you want to multitask it, it is loud enough that it penetrates your brain.
It's very intimate.
Yeah. Super intimate, most intimate, more than video, because video often we're going to look at and then we're not going to watch again because we look at it and we're like, oh, well, people will see I'm watching video and we don't want to be judged.
Right.
Okay. So they're going to watch a couple videos, right? But they could listen to your podcast over and over again, especially as you see smart cars are integrating podcasts right into their radio player.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yep, and they have been for 2 years. Just nobody talks about it because nobody understands it. But think about it, right? All that you have on your dashboard screen, like next to your dash, right, in the center console, is an iPad or an Android tablet that does your GPS, that runs apps, right? It's Android for cars. It's Apple for cars, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever it is for cars. Which, of course, they're going to preload with Stitcher. I mean, and frankly, the other thing that's coming next is for people who fly, they're already putting LinkedIn Learning on planes. They're going to start putting great, learning from other places. Right now, LinkedIn has got it, but Jeff Hazlett is doing that with the C-Suite network. It's pretty cool. Those two are next. The other thing is, we're going to see that a lot of the artificial intelligence, augmented reality, is very, very, very new, but also very big in the opportunity space. Because if I've got it and you don't, and I invite you, we're going to be friends forever. because you add me as a friend. And again, don't sell first, make friends first.
Ever. Don't ever sell first.
Right. So don't do that. But think about it. So I remember when Gmail was invite only, a guy by the name of Trent Dang saw my note out in the ether that saw me begging for a Gmail invite.
Wow.
And sent me a Gmail invite, and I'll never forget him. Never. Yeah. He will forever be someone that if I bump into online, I will give him props. So that's the three things that I think are coming out.
I think you're right. And in fact, I am doing a little bit of experimenting right now with outbound, because as many people who are in sales may realize is, as Trish Bertuzzi says, outbound is a bitch. And it's more of a bitch than it's ever been before.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Mostly because we've got humans that are doing the job that robots are going to be doing in 2 years, which is just plain old, pounding out. Ugh. So if you're in those roles, I kind of really recommend you get into the field as fast as possible and build up your real sales chops, not your dial chops. Because if you're a dialer, you're on your way out, I think. Let's go.
Well, I was going to say, it's really interesting. And I have felt this way for a very long time. My slug line is we coach humans how to sell to other humans, and we've got H2H and, that whole concept of selling to people as a person. And what's really interesting is that despite all the technology and all the tools, it really does. I mean, look what we're doing with artificial intelligence. We're programming and deploying artificial intelligence, not just in the way to do repetitive skills, but we're working on artificial intelligence to act more human. Right? And that it's all about you talk about how to really connect with people. That's the whisper. It's going and meeting in person, and it's being part of someone's lives. It's opening them up to your life. And so technology has got to marry the human side in order to be effective at compelling people, right? I love sales technology, but I think that some people, there's too much and so much over the edge. Every data point, big data, all this kind of stuff, every data point comes back to a human interaction. Everything you gather about someone comes back to a decision and something that, a human is going to have to do eventually, whether it's a human who programs the funnel for something to happen, or it's a human you take the information that someone's doing this or someone's doing this or whatever that you gather from that technology, and then you have a conversation based on that. If you are a seller, learn how to do that, take that information, take the technology, and be human instead of doing those rote things or repetitive things, the dialing, the emailing that we could essentially be replaced with, artificial intelligence or a funnel.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I would say this, right? Tactics and techniques are great if they have the right intention. So we see behind it that there is so much repetition, which is great, right? We can set up funnels that, auto drip 11 emails after you sign up based on one interest point. Don't get me wrong, okay? If your buyer's journey is long, you should not have to think about all of that. Now, that being said, when someone replies, you need a human being there to be the answer, right? When someone jumps out of the norm, which humans do that, by the way, we don't follow directions. We don't like to feel like it's the same everybody else gets. When that's true, then we need to be human back. And I think that's, understanding that some skills are repetitive, which can be and will be outsourced. Duh.
Yeah.
But some skills can't be. And those skills that can't be, your goal has got to be to make those great. That's why video matters, because you can see this is Phil Gerbyshak. This is no fake Phil, right? You're seeing that
you're not CGI.
I'm not CGI, right? We're seeing it's not perfect. And that's okay. And that's actually wonderful, because again, once we get past the repetition to the reaction and the response, now is where the humans win.
Well, I think it's awesome. And I think the people that understand that these things that the repetitive things that they're doing, if they can get better at the next step, they can let the robots do the repetitive stuff and find those, 3% that are interested in talking to you right now. And frankly, I think technology is nothing to be afraid of. That's where the money is. I mean, I don't make any money sending emails and voicemails 10 in a row. I don't make any money doing that. I make money when I get the right person on the line who wants, and I don't mean on the line like a fish. I mean, like I actually have phone calls.
On the phone.
But anyway, so what I'm practicing with Outbound is, and it may be what you just brought up, but is video in an email where you can have the background and a little you in the corner and just say quickly what you want to say, and it really is for that person. I kind of have the feeling that it's probably a little bit like kitschy, like a way to get somebody's attention. I think that's going to go out pretty fast. But I think you're talking about something else cool, Phil, is when you bring a new realization to somebody, like when you're out there and you kind of catch their eye out here. I think that's where the magic is when you can catch somebody's attention and be like, wait, what was that?
Well,
yeah.
And I think what you said too is interesting, Diana, and connecting what Phil said is when you first jumped off, you had this idea to really explore LinkedIn and stuff. You connected with people, you reached out, you took an action to say, I am interested in you, not because you wanted to sell them something, not because you were setting them up, which as sellers, we need to do that, but to take action to let people know that you are interested in them is so personal and flattering and complimentary, and that's huge. And I think our woodchucks out there, especially the junior woodchucks and our sellers out there, be interested in people, not because they're just prospective customers, but be truly interested in people and connect with them with the intention of being interested, not just being interesting and providing value. That is so important, but of being interested in them too, which is a whole entire different skill set.
Yeah, again, that comes back to the human element of that, right? Robots are interested because they want to take you to the next step and they want to make sure they answer your question. Yeah. That is how many sellers have been in the past, is that they follow this script and they fishbone out every possible way. And then they think, oh, that person said keyword X, so therefore I must respond with paragraph Y. And it's like, if you're really paying attention, if you're really listening and you hear the nuance in their voice, it makes it a lot more real and faster conversation. Because if you're just playing off keywords, I mean, yes, Google is really smart and knows most of what we're asking for, but the difference in nuance is the difference between a human and a robotic seller.
So how do you learn this? So let's bring this to reality, right? I think that the three of us have probably our own different journeys of how we got to this place, but it's not a natural trait. When you're a 2-year-old, you're only interested in what that person's interested in because it's going to get you something. Do you know what I mean? And I think that some of us never break out of that mentality, right? So how have you developed yourself, or what would you recommend that salespeople do to really learn how to, and don't use the word empathy, please. Or authentic. Those are so over. I want a fresh, really tactical way. How do you get yourself trained to care about other people?
Sure. So volunteer.
Oh,
okay. Yes. Pick your favorite place that you can only give and not get anything back. And practice that. So practice really being interested. Be interested in the mission. And I say practice, and you're going to say, well, no, be interested. Hold on. If you don't have the skill yet, you got to practice.
Right.
Okay. So practice asking a question and then shutting up. Just ask a question, shut up, right? What's the mission? And then listen to that. Does that make any sense to you?
No, Phil, right? I worked for Volunteer Match for 12 years.
Right? No, and I'm saying, right, for the other person, right, the people that are listening here, right? So ask yourself, does the mission matter?
Right.
What is it, right? Why does it resonate with you? And then after you've shut up and you've listened, now ask a follow-up question. Practice going deeper and go down a bunch of holes, right? Volunteering means you're not selling anything. Yes, you want to grow the mission, but I want you to think about that's the only time you can feel you can be safe and fail. Because really, in volunteering, people say no way more than they say yes. I mean, it's worse than sales. when it comes to hearing the word no. So just get good at hearing no. I can tell you that I used to, when I was a VP of IT, I would spin around sales calls and just practice listening to whatever the vendor was trying to sell me, and then responding with genuine interest and an offer to help of, hey, if I could get you in front of my audience, would you be interested in that? If I can invite you to a meeting, would that be of interest to you? Now, sometimes it was a meeting that was straight line. Yeah, you want to sell to IT people? Salespeople are like, yeah, I want to go. But I would also invite them to the opportunities to actually dig in and get their hands dirty. Some of the other things, right? And so get people involved and know what their pet project is. And maybe that could be your pet project. Sure. So as you go deeper, right, you volunteer, but then volunteer more strategically. So practice, fail, get good at listening, shutting up, and then go a little deeper. Right now you might be a little bit strategic. Still love your old nonprofit, your old volunteer place, your old people. Like I volunteered a 13-year-old boy from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I would ask him to do stuff, and he had no interest in it at first. Because I would be like, dude, I want to go to the art museum. You want to go? And he's like, no. Why would I want to do that crap? And then I started asking him what he was interested in. And then I would start connecting the art museum to what he was interested in. And now he says, oh, dude, can we go to the art museum? Because I want to see the new exhibit, because one of my friends at school was talking about this and it sounds like why. Oh, whoa. So I started listening, started playing it back, right? But it's practice, and volunteering, getting involved in someone selflessly is a great way to get practice.
That is brilliant.
I think
advice, Phil.
I think that's brilliant. You know, what's so funny? I'm sure this is true of you too, Sean, but I mean, I grew up, that's what I did. Like my mom instilled this in me, you know, volunteering. She was always volunteering for things. And you're right. I think it is a skill. And I think that if you're out there thinking, I should just be interested in people, but you don't really feel that in your soul, it's not unusual. Don't take it personally. Just go get some skills, because it will make you first of all, make you a far better human, but it will skyrocket your success.
This goes back to something we talked about on the last show. We talked about different people you need in your tribe. And one of the people that I firmly believe everyone needs in their tribe is someone who, someone scares the shit out of you. Someone who pushes boundaries that you have, because your status quo is temporary and it's only defined by the constraints that you accept for yourself. And when you find that person, someone who pushes their physical, mental, emotional boundaries, and the same can be said for volunteering. When you go and you experience people who have different hardships than you, different capabilities, different mindsets, different troubles, challenges, or different opportunities, you get that opportunity again to reset those boundaries and know that, poof, they're just these invisible lines that you've drawn, and you're able to feel more, you're able to experience more, and you're able to, build that E word that Diane doesn't like, but you're able to understand and be compassionate for other people in different situations, which is so much about being human when you're selling. It's to be able to understand exactly why, that person is not my favorite, but I hear they really have a job to do. Why won't they just let me in, or whatever. So it's pretty important. This brilliant advice. So.
Thanks.
My business has never been better than the times when I'm giving back to something. And I mean, it really is a direct correlation to being, making more sales. So, go do it because it's in your best interest. I never trust somebody who's not acting in their own best interest. I think that's weird. So go do something for somebody else, and it will be in your best interest. Wow,
I know.
See, that's awesome. I love this show so much.
I agree. Yeah.
Where are we on time, Ms. Sean Carroll Sandy?
Well,
9 minutes.
That's okay. I feel like we have a couple really more good questions that I want to ask.
Yeah, whatever you want. I'm here for you.
Okay. So, Phil, I want to ask, what's the worst job you've ever had, and what have you learned from that experience?
What's the worst job I ever had? So I sold DSL, digital subscriber line technology, at the beginning of the DSL revolution.
Okay.
So we had to partner. We sold it. We had a provider that actually laid that did the work, and then we had to deal with the big phone company, with the AT&T, right? With the big phone company. And the challenge was, imagine 3 miles of cable. We owned a foot of it. The next provider owned 2.95 miles. And the last 400 feet from the road to the house was owned by the phone company. And this is how it worked, right? Because back then it was all leased. But what happened is they wouldn't let the phone company provide end-to-end coverage, but they had to provide help for the last 500, for the last 400 and the first 100. Okay. Well, they decided that they knew that the clock was ticking. They were about to lobby to change the law. Mm-hmm. So we would sell stuff, and this is why it was the worst. We would sell it, and they would purposely drop it in the wrong spot. And there was only so much cable that could be in a neighborhood. So they would drop it at the neighbors across the street and be like, yep, we're out. Sorry. We can't make that. So I learned so much patience there. I learned how to be more human, and I learned how to share experiences, share the pain with customers. And until I left, we had a pretty strong retention, even though we couldn't deliver squat. If we sold 100 units, we would only be able to deliver 9 or 10 of them.
Wow.
So I learned how to eat crow, and it was really hard, and it sucked. And my boss really, she told us that we likely weren't going to get a raise going in, because we knew it was hard. So we got a little raise to come over and do it. We had the guys that were selling the hard T1s, ISDN lines, getting 5 to 6 figure bonuses. We got a bonus, and they were getting them every month. We were getting at the end of a year, we got a $211 bonus.
Oh.
So I also learned that I really need to watch my mouth, because I went off on the CEO at the Christmas party.
Do you have video?
No, this is pre-social media. No, thank goodness. Right? Because I was a jerk, and I learned that talent isn't enough. Because I was good. I was the best. So I thought. And then when I found another job and I gave my boss my month notice, different than my 2-year notice that I gave, my boss said, okay, that's great. An hour later, yeah, we're just going to pay you out the month. Get the hell out. Yeah. You suck, dude. You're a cancer to our team. So I learned that I'm not that great. I'm not the world's greatest salesman. In fact, I'm an a-hole. And nobody wants me on the team. So I didn't technically get fired, but I can tell you, I got released a month, and it actually, I gave them a month. I was thinking they'd beg me to stay around, so it'd be 2, and I could marry that up and maybe double dip a little bit. Oh no, she let me go like that morning by lunchtime. See you later, dude. Yeah, see ya, dude. So I learned that, and frankly, I also learned that sometimes the latest and greatest technology, not everybody understands. It was really hard to sell DSL when people were used to 56K. So now nobody even understands probably what I'm talking about, but I want you to think about, go to the mountains, right? We do, but most people don't. Go to the mountains and try to download a picture.
Yeah.
If it ever comes through, good luck. I remember it taking 4 to 5 hours to get a little grainy 0.5 meg picture down. And now I can send my dad in Crivets, Wisconsin, a text message that reaches him in less than a second.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're
my
so
goodness.
Nerdy.
Yeah.
I love nerdy.
Yeah. So I learned that, and that was a hard job for just so many reasons, not the least of which my expectations were that I was going to blow it out of the park. And what really happened is I got fired.
Well, it sounds too like there's a couple different things. You had a lot of moving parts. Sales sometimes feels very isolating, but now more, you have different people who impact your ability to keep those promises. I mean, my promise is my truth. It's my guide. Like, and when you have other people who, impact that to where you can't deliver and you have to turn around the customer. Oh, that's so frustrating. I think that happens more and more now. And it also sounds like it wasn't necessarily a good fit for you. Not that you may have been an a-hole, but also it sounds like it wasn't necessarily aligning with the way you wanted to live your values and your integrity. And there were just some, it wasn't congruent to who you were. And that's where a lot of the friction caused. And, you may have been sour grapes or the sour grape seller that we talked about.
Sour grape seller.
And that you had to leave there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of that is true. And, to your point about not being a great fit, I really took the job for money. I didn't take the job for anything else, right? I took that job because I saw the opportunity to sell. Well, guess what? We get sold a lot more than we sell because our, the sales VPs, the senior directors of sales, our territory managers, they've been selling longer than we have. So of course, they're going to sell us on the shiny and the pretty. When in reality, I want to see what's underneath your toilet bowl lid. I want to see that yucky part that nobody wants to talk about. What's the worst day here? Right. What's it really look like? What is is the CEO really a good CEO, or is the CEO only a good CEO if there's no stress? Mm-hmm. Big difference, right? Because I can tell you, especially if you're a seller and the CEO is involved in every step of the sales process,
that's not a good thing.
Well, it's not for everybody, that's for sure.
No.
So you really need to think about, is that what you want? Do you really want a boss that instead of being a mentor is a micromanager? Find out, how do things get done? How do things get done around there, right? Who makes the decisions? Did the CEO have input into everything? Does the senior VP of sales, do they talk to marketing, right? I would ask that question, right? How well do they get? I can tell you, I took a job where the senior VP of sales hated marketing. How many leads do you think we got from marketing? It rhymes with hero. I'm just telling you.
Also really, because in an interview, they're never going to probably tell you the whole truth. So one really great way to find out is Glassdoor.com. I have found is almost 100% reliable for, you got to believe the number of stars is probably what it really is like to work there. So I've had a little insight into that. But Glassdoor.com is a great place.
I wouldn't look at the stars though. I appreciate that you said the stars, but I would look at the actual reviews.
Yeah, and look at the position that you're going in for, because there are some places where it's awesome to be an engineer, but it's not awesome to be a salesperson. That's right.
Right. Yeah. So look at the actual reviews, because if it's a crappy company, you're going to see fluffy reviews that are totally vapid and meaningless.
Yeah.
That are 5 stars, right? Ooh, this is a great place. They have free lunch. Okay. Hey, sales folks, do you care about free lunch, or you want to make sure that you've got help supporting your quota? Right? You want to find a team environment. What do you want? So make sure that it matches, and, don't be fooled just by numbers. Same if you're going to a restaurant and look at Yelp. Look at the actual comments, because I can tell you, I hate restaurants with a lot of kids running around, but if you've got a family of 12, you need a restaurant like that. So my 1-star review might be somebody else's 5-star review.
It's like on Amazon, people leave a bad review because the box was damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, what I've also done too is before, and this is before I've worked with someone on the client side as a consultant, I've looked on LinkedIn to find people who worked at that company in some of these positions that I would be working with, and just reached out to them and said, hey, I'm considering working with this company. Can you just kind of tell me about, not necessarily what is their experience, but because that people are, especially if you don't know them, I've asked, can you tell me about the internal architecture and sort of the, how decisions are really made there? And that then leads into, well, here's my experience. And that's been a wealth of knowledge that I wish I had before I went into some companies and took them on as clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, and again, that comes back to the whole give before you get. If you're helping these people, right? So if you think that you're going to talk to someone someday, be nice to that person today. I mean, seriously.
Don't. You might be getting on the elevator with the CEO you don't even know you. Yeah. Just kind of be nice to everybody. Be nice.
Well, that kind of goes without saying, but some people are not going to do that. So I want to encourage you though, if anybody looks like they're anybody you might ever work with, at least be nice to them. Start there.
Yeah.
Well, let's just be good people. I mean, I think that,
I don't know. No.
You're asking for a lot.
Don't pick and choose. I mean, you're going to be, I know Diana loves this word, but it's so transparent now. If you suck, like I think Jill Rowley says, if you suck on offline, you're going to suck online. If you're a crappy person, showing up and dazzling someone, they're going to be able to find and see the real you now, more so than they ever have been. Be a good human, like be a good citizen of planet
I think transparent is a great word. I mean, I think it is perfectly descriptive. I'm not crazy about be authentic because, what is that? But transparent is I love it. I love companies that are transparent about what's working, what's not working. Zappos is an excellent example of that. No, I think transparency is a very, I mean, the thing is you are transparent anyway.
Well, and I would add be vulnerable. I would add be vulnerable, right? The whole authentic, Diana, I'm totally with you that authentic is, right? Be who you are. That's fine. But really that's not true. If you're an a-hole, don't be an a-hole, just change, right? Be different. Don't embrace, share your scars as well as your stars.
Yeah.
Share those things that hurt as well as those stuffs that makes you shine. Because frankly, if you've never failed, you're not connectable to, right? So if I think that you don't ever have any shared experiences with me, that I hate to say it, Diana, this is your word, you don't have any empathy.
That's true.
Right? Without shared experience, you have no shared empathy. So get some experiences, share them, right? Again, that's where volunteering helps because you can connect stuff that may not even connect. I mean, I've hired people, you're a great bartender. You could be a great salesperson. Most of the time, bartenders don't understand that connects. Yeah. But as a sales leader, you should be able to connect that dot for them. You should be able to help them. I mean, when I hire folks, right, I ask them stuff like, what are you really passionate about? Okay, then I want you to bring that to work every day. Mm-hmm. That's
we need a bartender as a guest. Let's find a really awesome bartender.
Chris Myers might be a good person for you. He is really funny. He does a lot of tricks and stuff.
He's in Milwaukee, right?
He was. I think he's in Minneapolis now. Yeah, okay, so check. Or John Taffer. See if you can get Taffer on from Bar Rescue. Right? Ask Joe Sorge.
Oh.
For sure. I mean, because sellers can learn from anyone.
And Phil, this is what I think Diana may have touched on this before, talking about young people. And I don't necessarily know that it's a millennial issue, but when you're young and you don't have those life experiences, it's a lot harder to connect with people. If I am a seller and I'm showing up to a hot meeting and my prospective buyer has to cancel because their mother fell and broke her hip, I mean, that's really hard to connect to, or they have a sick kid, or all those different life experiences. Volunteering is a great way for you to go and to be able to understand, someone who's got a different life outlook or perspective or something, to be able to reflect that in your conversation, your understanding with people who are maybe older than you. Because, most of your people in, authority and budget positions are going to be older than they're not going to be necessarily in their 20s, they're going to be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. So I think that if you're a young person and you really are wanting to advance your career, go places where you can not necessarily have those experiences, but be around people who have different experiences than you. And then you can reflect that in your conversations.
Yep. Experiences create connections.
Mm-hmm. And
so
failure.
Create some, and failure, right? So it's okay that you failed.
Yeah.
What did you do next? Right? That's what I want to hear.
I like to think of, it's okay. Don't worry about falling down because the floor will catch you.
Gravity isn't permanent, right?
No, exactly. You're not, So that leads me to another question for you, Phil, because Diane and I, we've talked about our sales fails, talked about wins and stuff like that. I think that I don't think that sellers see that often enough to say,
Yeah.
I screwed up. Let me tell you about the time I just bombed, or I did it just yesterday or something. They only hear from experts how I worked my way into a 7-figure sales gig and bought my own jet and all that kind of crap. So what is your biggest, most nasty crash and burn sales fail that you can think of, Phil?
Let's see. Well, I'll tell you, sales partnership, when you partner up with someone, is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
And I had a partner that I thought was going to fill in a lot of the gaps that I have. I am not a process guy. Okay. I am the personality guy. I'm not the process guy. I'm working on that. I'm getting better at that. I understand that it's important. And the good news is I've just like hid it away. I'm actually pretty good at it. Like I can write, but I don't, because I try to get by on personality. So I had a partner that I thought was going to be perfect. And we failed 17 different times before we finally had to break up. We sold one piece of business and that was it.
Wow.
And that one piece was at a 95% discount. So, yeah. So the good news is that we did close one piece of business. The bad news is because we didn't define clear roles, because we didn't set expectations, because we didn't actually practice anything, because we didn't have a process down, because we didn't think about any of the stuff that I teach every single stinking day that I thought I can get by on personality, I take full responsibility for that and realize that I've got to slow down. I've got to think about the process. And more importantly, I got to think about the other people in the room. Because sometimes, I'm human. I get cocky. I think that, I can be God's gift. And sometimes, many times, I'm not. Many times, the more humble I am, the more real I am, the more I say, I really don't know that answer. But let me find it for you. And let me come back to you and tell you exactly what that is. Instead of, showing up and throwing up and showing off everything I know. And if they ask me a question I don't know, kind of BSing the answer, answering it, only 30% of the truth or 40% of the truth instead of the whole truth. Yeah, it's a big sales fail for me. And I failed a lot. And I realized that, maybe I'm not as awesome as I thought I was.
Which is the beginning of awesome when you realize
it is.
that, by the way.
Yes, it is. Yeah, once you hit the bottom and you kind of, you kiss the ground and you'd say, wow, gravity, thanks a whole lot for catching me. The floor is there and I better get up off of it or I'm going to be stuck.
Yeah.
Once you realize that, then you can say, okay, well, this is going to get better. And that is the little mustard seed of awesomeness.
I love that. The little mustard seed of awesomeness. So you've dropped a lot of great gems today. And hey, Diana, good luck editing this one down.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is going to turn into a 3-series. I can already tell, especially as we get our editing back. Do you have a back of the envelope question for Phil?
I do. I do have call this
back of the envelope question from Sean.
I'm always like jotting notes down on crap on my desk and stuff like that. Okay, Phil, here's the back of the envelope question I have for you. What superpower or super talent do you wish you had? Could be, metaphysical or whatever. What do you wish you had?
I wish I had superhuman inspiration to get up and go to the gym every single freaking day. Because I can tell you, when I do, I feel 100 times better. And when I don't, I feel like a big turd. So that's probably the big thing. And if we were talking about something that, maybe I didn't, I couldn't possibly possess, because that's possible. Right. I certainly could get that, superhuman motivation. But I think for me, the thing that I would really want would be just superhuman listening. Just to be able to pay attention and listen. And then that it glues my lips shut for me so that I didn't say anything until the person was actually done and made their full point.
Okay, I'm going to call a little bit of warmed over porridge on that. But give us a superhero, invisible cloak, Flash, breathe underwater. What's your
that way. Okay, so let's see.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't care. So let's see.
X-ray vision.
No, that would scare me. There's too many people that, if I saw them naked, would scare me. So I'm going to say no to that. Let's see. I don't know. I guess, speed is fun, so I could get things done faster. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't mean to sound cocky, but I don't think that, having any of those superhuman powers would really benefit me that much. And I don't think that I'm awesome, but I don't even know that I'd know what to do with it. I'd feel like William Catt from The Greatest American Hero. Like, here's my suit. Now what the hell do I do? Right. So that's my, yeah. So, and I appreciate that you say, listening is warmed over porridge, but honest to God,
Yeah.
I'd rather listen. I'd love to listen. I learn so much when I pay attention. That's why I love podcasts. I mean, really, I can plug into you anytime I want. If I put on your show, I can plug in a Bob Berg. Bob just dropped episode 71 today.
Wow.
Oh.
As much as I love Bob and Bob loves me, there's no way he would spend 71 hours on the phone with me.
Right.
Okay. So I can listen and I can't talk back because that's a podcast, right? That's pretty cool. So, and truly, I'd also want that ability to understand what the heck is really going on.
I was going to say that would be sort of the way I would tweak that would be as a superpower. I would want to listen and really know what people mean or know what they, or understand.
Mind reading.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Heart reading, mind reading, and listening. I think that would be probably, maybe if we all listened more intently, we would be able to do that more intuitively.
Yeah. Heart reading. There we go.
Heart reading.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd love, and
Lord, I'm going to throw up here in a minute. Really, I really am.
Awesome. Hey, Sean, you can kick her off, right? I mean, this is okay. It can just be me and you.
I adore you, Phil. I'm just
I love
playing.
you too,
I
sweetie.
love
You know
you.
that.
I tweet you.
Maybe we're
I
tapping into some
subscribe.
emotions Diana's not comfortable with.
Yeah, that whole love thing. Yeah, I'm wondering. So
We
I don't know.
need some shrink time with Diana.
That's it. Yep. Time on the couch.
I need some time on the couch. It's
Yep.
true.
And not just cuddle time, Diana.
Exactly. Well,
and not binge watching.
Phil, if you would want people to take an action to reach out to you, to to tell you something or to ask you a question, what would that be? For our viewers today, what would you want people to reach out to you to do, to say, to hear, to listen to do what?
Sure. So, well, go to Vengreso.com. Check us out there for sure. I also would say go to VengresoBootcamp.com and sign up for our boot camp. We have 7 of the best social seller people on the planet together that you get for $500.
Awesome.
So I'd say go there. And then lastly, if you just want to connect with me and you're like, dude, I'm not ready to invest. I just want to, get to know you, shake your hand, then connect to me on LinkedIn. Tell me you saw me on the SellOut show. Okay. LinkedIn.com/in/Phil Gerb, or just spell Gerbyshak, GERBYSHAK.com.
Yep.
Right. You think of that, right? Phil Gerbyshak. That's me. Check it out, right? Put that in a search engine, send me a note. It's real easy, Phil at Vengreso.com, Phil at PhilGerbyshak.com, whatever's best for you. And then I'm going to give you one more action you can take, one easy action. Call me. Just call me, 414-640-7445. Call me, text me if you're shy, right? I'm serious. Do that. Now, here's the thing. I wrote an article on how to leave a great voicemail greeting that I invited people to call me in that voicemail greeting. The article has been syndicated probably 50 or 60 times.
Wow.
So I'm going to guess low that there's 3 million people that viewed it, and I've gotten less than 50 phone calls.
Wow.
To the brave goes the good fortune. You never know. I might actually answer the phone and answer your sales questions. People pay a lot of money to talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to brag. I'm just being honest.
They do.
People pay a lot of money to talk to me. I'm giving you my phone number, 414-640-7445.
Yeah.
Be brave.
Amazing.
Be brave. Be brave. Be bold. God, the world needs more brave and bold people right now.
Absolutely.
if you do call Phil, leave, let us know in the notes or in the comments under the show.
Yeah.
And, let us know how it went, because hey, you need to practice. We all need practice. If we're going to be practitioners, sales practitioners, you need practice. So practice being bold, be brave. Call Phil. I mean, come on.
Call me.
Call me. Call me. Tweet me. Follow me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Love me.
Yeah. Well, just make a connection,
Subscribe.
right? Yeah. Well, go for connection, right? Aim for connection. And to your point, right? Practice. The other thing is do what your competition isn't doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we zig when they zag, weave when they wav, whatever, just do something different. Don't listen to all the experts that are, even me, right? So if it isn't working for you, that's cool. Either you're doing it wrong or it doesn't work for you. Either way, it's fine, right? It's fine.
Yeah,
That's right.
really. Wise words from Phil Gerbyshak.
Phil Gerbyshak. And by the way, I hope you didn't take any offense. I absolutely adore everything that you say, and I love you very much. And you are just awesome. So
Are you kidding me? Do you think I have thin skin, my love?
No.
Then again, I adore you, dear. You could not tick me off. For real. You'd really have to try.
I'm going to try.
and the point in that is that she has her intentions, right? Her intentions are,
I know where her heart is, right? And I would say that's true for most of us, right? And that's why she's not trying to sell anything. She's just trying to be. And that's
I'm about to go try to sell some stuff, though.
Not to me, though.
Not Phil. I'm not trying to sell Phil.
That is her job. That is her passion. That is how she pays the bills, right?
That's how I feed the dogs.
Well, thank you, Phil. I cannot thank you enough for being on the show. I'm so excited to get to know you further and to just, interact and soak up your wisdom and listen to more of your podcasts. They're great. You've just a real great variety of people, which I mean, it's fantastic. I don't want to listen to just, our dear friends who are sales experts. They're great, but I want to be well-rounded and listen to people, different experiences, different challenges and life. And so
I was listening to your storyteller guy the other day. I just love putting your conversations with Phil up in the background, and just because they're always dropping something that I hadn't even thought of. It's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, Park Hall is brilliant. And I've got a whole bunch of that. I've got the Summer of Selling is coming soon, though. So I've got like 30 sales experts I'm going to trot out over the next couple months.
Yeah.
And everybody's a little different with a little different personality, little different spin, a little different insight, because, sales is not a straight line game. You can't learn from one person. I mean, as much as, pick your favorite sales expert, as much as they're great, you get so much from listening to something that you're like, huh? That interrupted my brain.
Yeah.
Oh, now I should think about it a little differently. Oh, that's interesting. So so look at it multiple ways.
Excellent. Well, we can't wait to go to Vengreso and see the experts that you've lined up and partnered with and collaborated with. Great success on your launch. And I know we'll be back and we'll be talking to you again, Phil.
Woohoo! Can't wait.
Thank you, Phil.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
Bye.